Hey, what do you say, everyone? This is Rick Saulle, and you're listening to the Saulle Says podcast. And this is a historic episode of the Saulle Says podcast for a multitude of reasons. First and foremost, is this is the very first time that I've ever recorded the podcast on video as I was recording it via audio. So let that sink in for a minute. I don't even know if that makes sense to me, and I'm doing it. But essentially, I'm kind of channeling my inner Joe Rogan with his Spotify show as he's doing his interviews and kind of having his conversations. He's also recording it. His primary focus is the audio portion, but he also has the option for people who want to watch it. And that's kind of my thought process. And because as I look at things now, there's different strokes for different folks, right? Some people are fanatical podcast listeners. When they're walking, when they're jogging, when they're exercising, they want to have the podcast in the background. Other people like the little snippets that you might find on Instagram Reels or, I don't know, whatever else is out there. TikTok, I guess. I'm not well versed on TikTok, and I never will be. And then some people like the full form that you might find on, say, LinkedIn or maybe YouTube. So I guess what I'm trying to do is trying to appeal to the masses, a little something for everybody, and hoping that by doing this, more people might find their way to my show. But this is also historic in another capacity, because this could very well be the last Saulle Says podcast, at least in its current form and fashion. I've been thinking about this for quite some time, and I'm toying with a couple of kind of new iterations of what I'm trying to accomplish. The essence of the show will be the same. There's going to be times where I'm just going to riff about different topics. There's going to be times where I may have co-hosts, and there's going to be times where I'm going to have interviews. And the beautiful part about that is, now that I'm recording this via video, is I can really I guess I can really expand the reach of the show, as I mentioned earlier, but I also can have a lot more fun with it. And I can repurpose the content a lot more. And the repurpose the content is a term that's used a lot in this world. It just means taking the original content, using it in a lot of different formats, so you get more bang for your buck. But my end game, what I've always wanted to do, number one on my bucket list of life accomplishments, is to write a book. And I have essentially completed the outline, and I have the crux of what I want to say in each chapter. And now it's just a question of incorporating personal stories and quotes and anecdotes and things of that nature, and then putting it in sort of an order that I think will make sense. It will be a logical progression. And I don't want to give too much away, because I don't want to ruin it, because as I get closer, I will start to do some build up and things like that. But I believe that I want the title of the book and the title of the podcast to be the same, because at the end of the day, that is kind of the philosophy that I'm really embracing at this stage of my life. And again, I'm going to keep my cards close to my vest or my chest. I think it's vest. I think it came back from the Wild West, when they used to wear vests. They would keep their cards close. But I think nowadays a lot of people say chest as well. Either way, you get my drift. But the point is, I just really am starting to have like a lot of clarity, and I'm making a lot of significant and wholesale changes in my life. Not that things were going poorly; they weren't. I was, I think, progressing on a good pattern, but I just felt like I had more to offer, and I had all these things inside that I wanted to kind of tap into. And the way I was living my life wasn't allowing me to access a lot of this. So I've been kind of like dancing around this for a couple of years, I guess. And, ultimately, I read a book called The 5 a.m. Club by Robin Sharma. And there was some very interesting stuff in there. It's all about, own your morning, elevate your life. And it just really got me to thinking that I need to get up earlier, and I need to tackle the day with a lot more passion and a lot more enthusiasm. Obviously, as the title of the book indicates, he's getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning. And I said, I'm not going to pull the Band-Aid off like that. I'm not going to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. But what I am going to do is start to just set my alarm a little bit earlier and a little bit earlier. So I did this for a couple of days, and I got up and I was up earlier, and then I wasn't really getting anything done. And I'm like, so now I'm just a jackass who gets up earlier and is tired by the end of the day. So that kind of really got me thinking of all the things that I really want to do. Okay, I really want to commit myself to meditation, right? I've tried, I've dabbled in it, I've had some few successful meditation sessions, but nothing that's really been transformational. I love to journal, so that was definitely going to be part of my morning routine. Walk my dog Maggie pretty much every morning now, weather permitting. I stretch. I'm focusing on doing some push-ups, some sit-ups, some planks, strengthen my core, my back. And then, finally, I'm having I had kind of an epiphany, and I started having something called a bulletproof coffee, which I know has been around for quite some time. It's essentially just black, freshly brewed coffee right from the beans, and some grass-fed ghee, and some coconut oil. And I've been taking that in the morning because what I was realizing is I was having like a Cliff Bar or some sort of, snack in the morning, not realizing the amount of sugar that these bars possessed. And I guess that's where kind of all this is all sort of fit together, is I didn't realize how much sugar that I was ingesting each day. And I'm not a snack guy by any stretch of the imagination. So, but what I realized is a lot of the foods that I was eating on a regular basis had a lot of added sugars. And then I started to realize that that was part of the reason why I was running out of energy, and I was kind of irritable, and I just was kind of scattered and disorganized and didn't have a clear path for my day. So the first and foremost, what I did was just cut the sugars out. No more bars in the morning, bulletproof coffee, that's it. A light lunch, very light lunch, salad, maybe some grilled chicken, and then dinner just as healthy as I can be. And then when I finish dinner, I mean, that's pretty much it. I may drink some tea, either green tea or some, heated tea, whatever the case may be. But the fact of the matter is, I just massively reduced the amount of sugar that I'm taking in, and also the caloric intake. And quite frankly, the transformation that I've experienced both physically and mentally has been significant. I can't tell you how much better I feel. I'm routinely getting up about 5:30, 5:45 now, and I'm just tracking what I'm getting done each day because I have a plan. Like when I get up, I know exactly what I'm going to do. And, it starts with the meditation. And here's the best part about it. The only time that I touch my phone during the first 2.5 hours of my day is if I'm listening to a book on tape or a podcast, and I'll play that. Or if I have a guided meditation app. And that's it. I'm not checking emails. I'm definitely not checking the news. I'm not checking social media. I am using my phone just as a vehicle to help me with these other things. So I make a list. By the time I'm ready to sit down at my desk at 7:45 in the morning to start my job, I look at the things I've accomplished, and that list is 7 or 8 things deep. And then I realize I've been up for 2.5 hours in some cases, and I got all this done. And the last thing I've been doing, and this is crazy, I never thought I would do anything like this, is I blast a cold shower. Now, I don't get into the water when it's cold. I have it kind of lukewarm, and then I gradually just start cooling it down. And that's another thing, man. Bam! It's like totally waking me up. It's totally energizing me. And once I hit my desk, I am just chomping at the bit to start the day. So why am I telling you all this? Well, basically because this is really giving me the clarity to see myself through to what the next kind of phase of my life is going to look like. First and foremost, I want to be the absolute best father I can be. That goes without saying. I want to become the best husband I can be. I know I have a lot of room to grow there. I want to continue to be a good and loving son for my parents, without question. I want to be the absolute best leader and manager that I can be for my company, Aegis Sciences. I want to help the reps that work for me and the managers that work for me become the best version of themselves. And ultimately, I want to just be able to follow my path and my journey to get where I want to go, which is to write the book and to become a bigger presence out there so I can help others tap into the same thing that I've tapped into, because we all have this inside of us. It may present itself differently. Yours may not be getting up early. Yours may not be journaling or meditating or anything like that, but you have something inside of you that's yearning to get out. And I'm hopeful that I can continue to share my journey and some of the clarity that I'm having with the ultimate goal of getting you where you need to be. So I just ask for your patience, your indulgence. Some of this is I'm going to make about myself, but not because I'm trying to be arrogant or I think I've unlocked this incredible secret, because I think sometimes that somebody that you know and you can relate to can share their experiences. It seems more palatable. Like I'm a huge fan of like David Goggins. You Can't Hurt Me was his first book. The dude is an absolute animal. I mean, he's like from another planet. And I listen to what he says because underneath all of it, I can relate it to my life. But what he's accomplished and what he does in his life, I'll never, ever be able to do that. He ran a 240-mile road race, bikes like 400 and some miles, has some obscene pull-up record. That's not what I'm trying to do here. I'm just trying to be a regular guy who's had some degree of success in his life, who believes that he has another level, another 2 levels, maybe 3 levels. And I want to show you and kind of lay things out how I'm getting there, the stumbling blocks that I'm hitting, the roadblocks I'm facing, and the successes that I'm having. So maybe, just maybe, you can cherry pick some of this and make it part of your own journey. So I said a lot. Hopefully there's some interest there, some excitement, and you guys will be fired up to be part of this. And I sincerely hope that this energy that I'm experiencing and this clarity that I'm experiencing continues, because it is an unbelievable feeling. As soon as that alarm goes off in the morning, I'm just ready to tackle the day because I have a purpose, I have a plan, and above all, I have passion. So I look forward to talking to you more and, seeing where this journey takes us next. Thanks, everyone. You've been listening to the Saulle Says podcast. I'm Rick Saulle, and I'll be back with you again soon, one way or another.